Hi everybody, I want to give you some tips on using Tailwind for Pinterest. There's a lot of misinformation out there and rumors, and honestly, it's starting to drive me crazy. So I want to set the record straight on a few things and also give you these 3 hacks, which I think will help you. Some of them will save you time. Some of them will improve your effectiveness. So let me first set the record straight here. I'm, doing this on my own. I barely promote Tailwind. I probably make 2 commissions a year on it. That's it. I'm just a very avid user and I know how to use it well, so I want to share that information. I will provide my affiliate link below if you want to help me out. And very importantly for you, if you use it and buy an annual subscription, it will save you $15, and I think it makes me $15 or something like that. So hopefully this information will be helpful, but I'm getting very annoyed. And it's happening on both sides of the aisle, essentially. So a lot of people misunderstand the benefit of Tailwind. There are some people out there telling you that Tailwind will help you with Pinterest, and many of them are trying to get a commission, and I'm here to tell you that Tailwind will not directly help you do better in Pinterest. Indirectly it can, and I'll get to that, but it will not. Tailwind is a time saver, and time is so important, and that is the huge benefit. And seriously, I only pay $10 a month for Tailwind, or that's all you need to spend, and my time is worth way more than $10 a month. And Tailwind will enable you to schedule things so you do not need to be tied directly to your computer, which is a huge benefit, because if you have a job or if you have any other commitments, or if you have kids and if you get busy and if you get distracted, which I think pretty much happens to all of us, it is a relief to have Tailwind working for you in the background, keeping you consistent. Now, it is true that if you are inconsistent, and now Tailwind makes you consistent because you're pinning throughout the day or not missing the key time periods, that will actually help you. But just using the tool doesn't help you. Now, by the same token, there are people out there telling you that it will hurt you, and it will not. So I personally don't care if you manually pin, or if you use Tailwind, or if you use both. I do both. I am here to tell you that it doesn't matter which you use. Use whichever one is best for you, or do what I do, which is a combination. Probably most of it is from Tailwind, and I do some manual pinning as well. There have been tons of tests to disprove this hypothesis that one method is better than the other. It simply just schedules it, and Pinterest has confirmed this, and it's very frustrating when I feel that people may be misleading you. So use whichever method you prefer, whichever one works best to you, for you. Do not worry about it, okay? Now, I am going to give you some tips here that if you use Tailwind will help you, and if you just use it occasionally, it will help you, because a lot of people misunderstand another benefit of Tailwind, which is the analytics and how to use those. Because the truth is, there's tons of information on Pinterest and tons of information on Tailwind. 90% of it is distraction and doesn't matter. The key is to know what does matter and to focus on that, and I'm going to show that to you. Okay, so I'm going to start off with my first tip. And by the way, I'm sure many of you guys know at least one of these 3 tips, but hopefully at least one of them will be new to you and will help you. The first tip is regarding creating Thord lists. So many people, especially when they start Tailwind, do not understand how it saves you time. They will go in and just schedule pin by pin and wonder, how does this save me time? They get that it helps them to not be at their desk, but it still takes a while until you realize that you can create a list of boards and schedule a pin to go to all 10 of them in one fell swoop, or all 20 or all 4, whatever is right for your board list. I'm not here to dictate that at all or anything else, but board lists are amazing. So I'm going to show you here what I do with a board list that I already created. I'll show you how to create it in a second, but this here is in my activities feed. Honestly, this is not one of my better pins, but someone else repinned it, so I might want to repin it. So I'm going to go here and use this Tailwind button here, and I'm going to schedule it. And I apologize that my internet connection is still be another, I don't know, 10 or 11 days until I have good connection again. But anyway, here's the pin, and oops, I'm going to scroll down, and here I'm going to put in my board list. And I have a board list. This is a kitchen pin, so my board list is for kitchen board. That's just what I called it. I made it a very obvious name, and you should as well. So I put this in here, and it automatically populates all of my kitchen boards because I created this. These boards are pre-screened. I'm going to show you how to do that afterwards. So I know that all these boards do well. So I just go here, and then I'm going to, let's see, try to scroll down on here. This is a different browser than I usually use. I go here to use interval, and I'm going to pin it. And I'm going to start pinning it in the evening because generally the evenings, Eastern Standard Time, do better. I'm just right now picking a random time, 8:58. Okay, great. And then I'm going to go here and I just choose exact because it's going to pin exactly when I want it, and there's nothing special about 8:58. It's just I know it's in my good time range. So I do exact, and then you can see here, the interval, I have it scheduled for 1 day apart. So it's going to schedule the same time every day until it runs out of boards. So you can see tonight it's going to do 8:58, and then tomorrow it's going to do 8:58 tomorrow and until it runs through, in this case, 6 pins. And then I would just go and either push this button here, schedule now, or this button here, and it will be done. I'm not going to do it because this is now my 3rd take of this video, and I did this earlier today. So I will X out of there. Okay, now how do I create those lists? So you want to create your board list, and really the way you find this is you go here to Publisher, and then there's something here called Board List. It's going to take you to this board. I have many lists. Some of them I don't use anymore, but I just leave them because it's easier to leave them. And if I want to create a new list, I'm going to go here and do New List. And I'm going to give this board an obvious name. I'm going to right now call it Home Decor, or Home Decor Boards, I could call it, whatever you want. Home Decor Boards. And then I'm going to go here. I'm going to put the board names in. So I have one called DIY Decorating, just as an example. I have another one which is DIY Home Improvement. Oops, came up before. Improvement tips, or whatever it is, I don't care. So I'm just going to put those boards in there, and now I have a new board list, okay? And then I just go like I showed you a second ago, where I go to schedule it and I call up the list, the board name list, and then it populates all of them, and that's all I do, okay? Now, the second tip is what happens if you have a whole lot of pins you want to schedule at once. I try to create a whole bunch of pins and boards that I can put kind of any pin into. So I have a lot of, home decor ones because I blog about home decor and I blog about painting and hardwood, and so I'll have those boards as well. So anyway, sorry, I'm on the wrong page here. So you can create any board or section of board. It does not matter. And this is just one board that I have where I have a lot of pins that do well, and so I repin them. So I go here to this button, And now it's showing me all the pins on the board. And so I can click all of them. In this case here, I have 9 pins. I just made my life easier by creating another board so I can go to the same one all the time, and I keyword the board and everything like that. Anyway, I highlight all of them. Then I go here to the lower right and I go schedule. Okay, you're going to see these pop up here. I'm just going to make the window bigger. So these are all the same pins here. Now, the easy way here is I can create a list. So pretend that these were all, actually, I'm just going to do one of my ones that it often does work for. So don't pay attention to my crazy, stupid names right now, but make your names obvious. Okay, so now I put in those 4 boards, right here, and now, as you see in each of these, it's automatically appeared here. Now I can just go and schedule these, and I will generally do it one by one. So I'm just going to take this one to show you as an example. Let's see if I can do this here. Okay, so it's got the boards I want it to go to, and I'm going to do an interval, and again, I'll just do it one day apart. I'm going to pick an exact time. I don't want to do the morning. I mean, I could if I was spacing them out throughout the day, but just for purposes of this, I'm going to pick now 9:58, okay? And so it's going to schedule these all one day apart to these boards. And then all I do is I click here and I schedule now. And these are all on my board, so I'm not worried if I do a few extra ones just to show you in this example. But I'm going to cancel out of it now because I don't need to schedule a ton of pins. Okay, but I can just keep doing this one by one, pick whatever starting date or starting time, whatever, get them all scheduled that way. Okay, now the third tip is going to take a little bit longer, and this is how to tell which boards are working well for you. So sorry. All right, so if I'm in Tailwind and I go to that home button, which is usually the starting point, you can see here you've got most repinned boards, but it's only showing me 3, and I really want to see all of them. So let's, oops, just like this browser. Okay, so I go explore all boards, and now it's going to show me all of the boards, hopefully. It's a little slow now, but I will really do this whole part in 2 sections, just because it's easier for me to do this way, okay? So I will do my own boards first, and then I will look at my group boards separately so I can, it's just easier for me to understand that way. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the dates, the time frame. So the default is usually 7 days. I already changed it, but I'm going to go to 30 days because 30 days is much more representative. And what you're going to see, though, over time is that the numbers will change because a lot of times boards will become less effective over time, especially group boards. Now, I only want my board, so that's regular boards. I'm going to click off of the secret boards because no one repins that, obviously. I'm going to click off of the group boards. Now, there is sometimes a glitch in here where some of my group boards appear in here, but for all intents and purposes, this is a good way. And I probably could, sometimes I copy and paste this into Excel, or maybe there's a way to export, but honestly, I don't have time for that. I'm just going to write this stuff on paper because after it makes it easier for me to organize. So I look now at the virility score, and I sort everything from highest to lowest. And I can just do that here with these buttons. So right now it's showing me highest to lowest. Here it's showing me lowest to highest, so I can see all my terrible boards. In this case, these are secret boards, but it's good to do that. So this is my first cut, but I can't use some of these numbers because you will see, and you will certainly notice this in your own analytics, that these numbers are usually higher than the current numbers, especially if they are group boards. And what I'm looking for is higher repins per pin and looking at the current data. So this first board is a really bad example because it's outrageously high. but I will look at how many pins I pinned to that board. This is my own board. So I've only pinned one pin, which is probably stupid. But anyway, I've done that, and yet I've had over 4,000 repins for that. Now, I know here that this is because I have a few particular pins that have done really, really well for a long period of time, and these numbers are, you know, kind of a little bit out of whack, and usually that happens on the first few boards. But this board here is very, very specific. So it's agreeable gray, which is one shade of paint. And I'm not telling you that you should do an agreeable gray board, but it just happens to be one that's very specific. But I can't pin most of my pins in this board because if my pins are not about agreeable gray, as most of my pins aren't, they do not belong in this board, right? You want to be topic specific. But I'm going to show you other instances where that's the case. So here, my next one is best paint colors for cabinets. Again, I have like 1 or 2 pins doing really well. But these numbers are high, and what I'm really looking for is not so much the high numbers, these exceptions, but I want the number of repins per to be above 1. And the higher they are, the better. So if they're like a factor of 2 or 4 or 10, that's really, really great. These are just outrageous, not realistic numbers here. So, but I am looking for 1, and I don't really need a calculator to tell that this number is greater than 1, right? And this next number is greater than 1, and so is this. But these are very specific boards. Let's see if I can scroll down here. Okay, so here I've got DIY painting, and this one is done well. I've got 9 pins to, 2,600. So I don't need a calculator. I know that's like an amazing board. And really, this is telling me that I should pin more pins to this board because my pins in here do really, really well. And this whole idea is, it's just like the marketing strategy, spend to strength. Take your best pins and pin them in your best boards, and avoid your worst pins and avoid your worst boards. So if I have things where this rate is less than 1, that is telling me it's a bad board, because basically I'm going to pin the pin, and it means if it's less than 1, probably no one is going to repin it. And when that happens, that sends signals to Google that that pin is bad, and I don't want that. It also tells them the board is bad, so I doubly don't want that. But this here is one of those, in between categories. It's not like home decor, which is a little bit broad, but it's not like agreeable gray, which is a specific paint color. And basically all of my painting pins, or almost all of them, will fit into this board. So I should really be leveraging this more. And I know this, I'm just gotten a little bit lazy lately. Anyway, here I have my best of board, which actually does really well for me too. I've only pinned 3 new pins there in the last month because I've been busy doing other things, like other more important things like SEO and redoing my website and my email list and creating funnels and stuff like that. But anyway, you can see that I'm getting 47 repins for 3, and I don't even need a calculator to tell me that's a good number. Okay, this next one, interior painting, looks like I've done pretty well, and I haven't pinned any here lately, so maybe I should start doing that. Now, I'm showing you here some of my stuff, which is at the top, and anything at the top is, often doing better, but also understand that I've been using this same approach probably for about 2 to 3 years at this point, so I don't have lots of bad boards that I pin to because I just stopped pinning. So this whole strategy just feeds on itself. Here's another one, navy and blue color trend. So I've pinned 7 pins there, and I've got 525. Again, I must have a few good pins doing really well. But again, I'm pinning to strength, and I'm avoiding other ones. So over time, the numbers just look this way. And I'm trying to scroll down here to show you a good example of where not to pin to. Here's an example of a great group board. It has over 2 million followers, and there have been about 300 pins in the last 30 days, but 4,700 repins. So, that's an awesome place. But you can only pin stuff that's relevant. Like, I'm not going to go and take my hardwood flooring pin and put it in storage ideas. It just makes no sense whatsoever. Let's try to find another example or a bad board. I don't know why I have all these group boards in here, even though I told it not to. Okay, so here's like a decent board for me. Stylish paint colors. I've done 11 and I've got 41 repins, so a rate of around 4, a little bit under. So that's really good. Okay, so that's a board I want. And so I'm basically going to write these all down on a piece of paper. And then afterwards, I'm going to kind of group them into categories. So I might put in a group that's all for painting, ones that are for home decor, ones that are for organizing, or whatever topics I do. And then I create lists from that, as I just showed you how to do that. Here's like, this is just an okay board. So best vacuum for hardwood floors, very specific, but not very active. So I put one pin in there and I got 1 repin. It's fine. So many zeros in here because I must have stopped pinning to these boards because they just weren't doing anything for me. Hold on. I had them here on the other things. Here's DIY home decor. It's a group board, but it's pretty good. Not great, but it's over 1. Again, I don't need a calculator or anything. I don't need to do complicated formulas and spreadsheets. So here's one that's really bad. So this one is one of those group boards that everyone must be throwing their pins into. And so it has 5,900 and only 1,223 repins. This is a very bad ratio. So I will generally stop pinning to those boards. But you guys get the idea. So basically cleanse your boards that you're going to pin to. Now, I'm not telling you need to delete those boards. I usually don't even do that, as you can see. I just don't have the time for that. But I will stop pinning to bad boards. And this is where I think Tailwind has been the most useful for me. I also want to tell you that there's another place that I will cross-reference this with, which is on Pinterest. And this is a newer feature. It used to be there. They took it out, and then they put it back. Finally, I must have sent in about, seriously, 20 or 30 complaint notes. But anyway, if you go into your analytics, you go here, analytics, overview. And again, there's a lot of stuff, like ignore all this impression stuff. It's really not helpful. But I will often look at my top pins, but I will change this to link clicks because that's what I care about, clicks to my boards. So if I look here, it's going to tell me my top 20 boards or so. Maybe it's 15, I'm not sure. And so Agreeable Gray, which is one of the ones I showed you before at top, is getting me 30,000 or 31,000 clicks a month right now. So that's a good board. So that's confirmation. And here I've got DIY painting, another board I showed you, and it does really well. And I can see all the data here. So I will keep this. But this may only go to 15 or 20 boards. And I have a lot more boards than that, right? I mean, I'm not telling you need to have hundreds of boards, even though I have tons of them from over the years. But you can't get all the data this way. So I use this, and I use the information from Tailwind to tell me which boards to pay attention to and which to stop pinning. Generally, if it's in here in my top 20 or so, or it's showing good stats in Tailwind, I will keep using that board. If it's telling me terrible stats there in Tailwind and it's not showing up here, I will, I'll nix that board. So I only want to be pinning to good boards. So basically, cross-reference these. If you have one here, it looks like it's doing really well and it's not showing up high enough on Tailwind, that's okay. Okay, but use this to narrow down. So you may only be, pinning to certain boards for painting and certain boards for home decor or whatever your categories are, budgeting, personal finance, whatever. I hope you guys get the idea here. Now, most of you guys probably already have Tailwind, and that's great. So hopefully these tips will help you. But if you don't have Tailwind, and if you're interested in using it, I will put my affiliate link down below. As I said, it will help you save $15. And to me, Tailwind is totally worth it because literally it's only $10 a month. And my time and my sanity is worth way more than $10 a month. And there are days where you might go away or something comes up or you're too tired or maybe you feel sick or maybe you have other things going on. You just can't be at home glued to your computer all day, or you like to work on other projects. I think it can really help you a lot. So I do recommend it, but I also recommend that you do some manual pinning and use the combination to further your learning as much as possible. All right, I hope that's helpful.